The masculine and feminine powers within our souls harbor 4 basic and distinct qualities. With these 4 powers, you can find a map of where you are in your personal development, and then embark on learning the techniques that enable you to master the 4 main areas of your life.
This is a quiz. I'm going to ask you some questions, and I'd like you to make little circles within these circles according to the answer. Okay, that's the agenda. I'm going to go more specific. So I'm going to say which circle I'm talking about. Yeah, and then you can write over the lowest circle. You can write earth, and the one on the right, fire. On the top is air, of course, and on the left, water. Okay. So here's the quiz. Imagine it's Thursday night. You, for the first time in months, have time for yourself. You've got the evening off, and it hasn't been an evening like that. There's always been something that you had to do. And you know that from tomorrow on, from Friday on, again, there's this and there's visitors coming on the weekend. It's another few weeks. You're not going to have time for yourself. Your best friend calls and he says, there's this amazing conscious party, conscious get-together with this amazing musician who, the way he plays, he's just calling in the divine energy. It's amazing. You just sit there and you just go flying. And there's beautiful people there, wonderful, very, very open and beautiful women are there as well, and very interesting men to talk to and connect to. And a lot of our friends are there. Do you want to come? I have a free pass for you. Call me. I'll pick you up at 7. It's 6 o'clock. All right. So, just so you know, you're already signing up. Then the doorbell rings. It's a delivery guy. It's got a book. But this is not from Amazon. This is from some special online place that found an old edition of a book that's out of print and that has all the knowledge that you've been looking for. I mean, it's just really the gold of the gold in this book. That you've had many different books and you've all been like, there's been links missing and stuff not in there, and you know that this book has those missing answers. And you could read that thing in one night. It's so well written, it's so interesting to you. I told you this test is called Dilemma. So now, that would be up here, you would put your circles later. How much you would resonate with staying at home and just reading that book. Because from tomorrow on, you won't have time to read that book. And for the last weeks, you have not had time. Okay. Then the phone rings again. It's your other friend who says,
"What are they?"
Yeah, dude, the master's come to town. He's not told anybody because, the place would be crammed. And he's going to teach us the skills that, we haven't gotten from any of our teachers. He's just coming to town tonight, and he's going to teach us some fine points in the arts that we're learning that nobody else in town can teach us, and this guy, who knows when he's ever going to come back. So he's teaching those skills tonight. I'll pick you up at 7. Yeah? So that would be, of course, in the fire element. Yeah. Now you're thinking, okay, great. We've got this book here. I will have no time to read it later in the next weeks. I've got to call my friend back for the party, or I've got to call my friend back for the skill session. And you look up and you look at all these IKEA boxes in your kitchen. And you've been meaning to put this kitchen together for weeks, and you've had no time. And it's chaos in the kitchen. And you're really feeling bad, because your kids, they don't have the kitchen, your wife is starting to get annoyed. And tonight you would have the time to open those IKEA boxes and put together the entire kitchen and be the star of the household, because everybody would be like, yay, Daddy did it. He put together the kitchen finally. So that would be down here, the earth element. Yeah, so I'm going to go through them again. You can give each one 4 or 3 or 2 or 1. Yeah? Maybe you have all 4, you have all 4. But the dilemma is, try to put yourself internally in the position of, you kind of have to choose one priority. And then the others can be second priority, third priority, and first priority. Yeah, fourth priority.
And the who came and give the teaching of really
is a real master who's
fire,
in the fire element. Yeah.
And then the book.
The book is the air element.
In air.
Knowledge.
Okay. Knowledge. Yeah.
What do you choose? In the earth element, how important? How much of a priority over everything else is it for you to put together this kitchen? You haven't had time for months. You won't have time for another few months. It's tonight or another few months, no kitchen. 4 circles in there it's an absolute priority. There's no question. I love the other things, but this comes first. That would be 4. 3, yeah, it's really important. I'll squeeze it in. I'll try to do it later. I'll try to do something. 2, nah, it's not so important. 1, I don't care. Yeah. So just for right now, in the earth element, make either 1, 2, 3, or 4 circles in the earth element circle, inside the circle. Yeah. Just feel it more. Feel it. What's your priority? Okay, so now, fire element. The friend is now calling again. He really wants to know, are you going to come and see the master? I'm going to learn these skills that you can then physically do. You know then how to do that. You're then also becoming closer to being masterful at that skill. Yeah? Whatever that skill is. Is that absolute priority? Number 4. There's no way I'm going to miss out on this chance. Who knows when this master is coming back. 3, it's super important, but some things are more important than that. 2, it's kind of important. 1, it's not important. Okay, now, the book. I imagine it's this beautiful leather-bound book, really old, parchment paper, and it's like the wisdom of the ages is in here, and somehow you got it, yeah. But you won't have time to read it from tomorrow on for months, and it's going to really plague you. It's like these questions have been on your mind, and the solutions are right there. Is it for you complete priority number 4? Like everything else is less important than this. I'm going to read this book tonight, and I'm going to get the answers to the questions of life. The meaning of life is in here. 3. Yeah, it's really important to me, but maybe I'll squeeze it in somehow. I'll read a page every night. 2, it's not so important. 1, I don't care. Okay?
Yeah.
All right, now, water. Friend is calling again. It's now 10 to 7. It's like, dude, are you crazy? What's going on? Come, this party is going to be amazing.
This one girl asked for you.
Yeah, exactly. Beyonce is there, it's like, and 3 Shakti yoginis are there. They're dancing. It's already happening now. What are you thinking? So and also on the higher note, there's this musician playing there, and the way he plays, people are getting real bliss energy and like awakenings just from listening to this music, because it's becoming this channel of divine energy. So is this like, number 4, I'm going there, don't care what else is going on. 3, it's important, but maybe I'll come later. 2, it's not so important. 1, I don't care. Are you finished? Yeah? So let's start. It can be, some may answer, and they're all important, and it's because all of these soul powers are activated in this being. So, this is the overview, and I want to emphasize that it's really from the soul that the soul powers are coming, and that the distortions are more in the archetypal, hierarchical energy fields of the astral, I would say. Humanity has, in the collective unconscious, has energy fields for each thing that have been repeated again and again. Since 6,000 years, we've had many, many kings again and again and again. We've had kings that had to have warriors to fight wars again and again and again. And that creates energy fields that then influence us in our day-to-day life when we dial up that frequency. That's how the archetypes work in a way that is not so free sometimes. We can be influenced in a negative way when we dial up the definition of what it means to be a warrior. For instance, when we then define like, okay, I'm a warrior, I'm a soldier, and I want to be a good soldier, especially then if you say I want to be a good soldier, then you're calling up the resonance of the warriors that have been before you, all the warriors that have done their work. And in the energy field of our humanity, there's like a template now. This is what a warrior does. If you're making cookies for Christmas and you have these little shapes. Molde. It's a mold. Yeah, molde in Spanish. This is a form. And then you can cut out of the dough the form of the Christmas tree, and you take it out, and then you have that Christmas tree baked. Yeah. So when you are in resonance with one of the archetypes, it's like you're putting your energy field, because you're powerful as a being. Your intention is, I'm putting myself into that energy field of this archetype. And then all the qualities that are already there in that mold start to have an effect on you. ¿Sabes? It's powerful. And that is good and bad, but more than good and bad, it's a definition that maybe doesn't suit our soul definition. If I have in the fire power, in my soul, the talent to be a good hunter, to be skillful at making the bow and arrow, I start to develop skill. I'm getting into the resonance of my fire power, the human power that's already there in my soul. And I'm touching it by getting into resonance with it. I'm like touching it and activating it by doing something. So if I now start to work with wood every day, I'm 15 years old, and I build things, I'm touching that part of my soul. And it has the qualities of what to do when you want to do it well, when you want to develop your skill in an effective way. You all of a sudden have more talents than what you're just teaching yourself, or your father, if you're lucky, is teaching you, or a master if you're learning a craft. Yeah? So that's one thing. You're learning how to deal with, somebody says, okay, you cut the wood like this, and then you put it here and you screw it together, and bam, then you have your desk or whatever. That's one thing. Somebody's teaching you the left brain logical things that you need to know. But then, how do you work with the wood? If there's a problem, how do you smooth it out? That's maybe coming from your soul. It's coming from a talent you already have. How to develop your skill. Does that make sense? And we have that for each of these 4 areas of life. Yeah? So we have that for knowledge, developing knowledge. How do we study? How do we look into something? How do we meditate on something until we understand it well? You can meditate on a topic every day, on the same topic. That topic will open up like a flower to you, and you'll have access to information that you have not read in any book and nobody's told you. I've experienced this many times. That's the talent of your soul to reveal knowledge. And the knowledge is there, and you're tapping into it. It's not just left brain information from a book or somebody telling you. It's that, and then you have a sort of map, and then you meditate on it again and again and again. And working with something is a form of meditation also, although it doesn't replace meditation. And then it opens up like a flower. The knowledge comes to you beyond the information that you've seen or heard. Or it accesses information you've seen and heard and you're no longer conscious of as well. Your unconscious knowledge, it taps into that. And then the same with the earth power. You have talent of how to make a beautiful home, how to create a beautiful space, how to create structure in your life, yeah, so that you have a harmonious life and you have everything you need. And the ways of being that before the hierarchical structure was in a tribe. We're all valuable members of the tribe. We're all respected mutually. And there's not one that has a, dictatorial power over everybody. It just isn't the structure in a tribal setting or in a flat hierarchy group setting. And in that, we have these words, concepts of the chief. What does the chief do in a tribe? He's not the one who can tell everybody what to do. He's actually the one who's serving everybody by taking on energetically the responsibility that the tribe is going to be okay, and that the tribe is going to be having enough food in the winter. He's going to think ahead. He's going to tell the hunters to also gather things that they can dry so that there's stuff in the winter there to eat. Yeah? That's the chief energy, which is related to the power we all have of the earth power, which is the things related to the practical things, the earthy things. And then for the fire, we have the hunter, who is the one who develops his skill to go hunting, but also to do other things, to gather also, and to be a good tribes member and do stuff in the tribe. And the shaman is the one who's developed his intuition and probably in a tribe was taught these things from childhood on, or maybe even the father was a shaman. But it's just the one who's developing his intuition and taking on certain responsibilities later. In the water power, the artisan making the beautiful things, making the pots or making the paintings, and in early days maybe the cave paintings, but also dancing around the fire or performing something and tapping into the source of all that is in their art, in their dance, in their way of being. And that is this sort of inner circle. I try to represent that these names, these responsibilities in a tribe are very close to the soul power. They're very much more in a natural state, harmonious state. And then I put into a more square box, because kingship, city-states, building houses that have 90-degree angles, it's square. That's the time of at least 6,000 years ago, maybe even further back, where kingship was installed, queenship was installed. City-states were happening in Sumeria, which is today's Iraq. And the hierarchy of society was established. And it includes some distortions and some good things. No? And some of the distortions are that power, when in a hierarchy, can be abused. The king can be a neurotic king, but still everybody has to do what he says. And if he says we're going to go to war with the neighbor country, then the warriors have to do that, otherwise off with their head. That's a slave contract that the warrior has. And the water family people, the artisans, they can be forced into just being entertainers, not really in honor in their direct connection to the creative energy and just giving food and nutrition to the tribe. But they have to do the play, or they have to be in films that also do the agenda. So I just want to make that distinction, because many times when we learn about the archetypes, there's not a lot of critical, skeptical thinking about it. It's just like, oh, the king, the beautiful king, yes. And there are beautiful qualities about the king. But I would say that when a king is harmonious, he's more like a chief. Yeah? When a warrior is harmonious, he's more like the tribe member, doing it to help, because somebody is attacking the tribe and needs defending. Then yes, become the warrior. But you know why, and you agree. You're not just doing it because the king wants to get more land. There's a difference. And so all of these distinctions I make between what's closer to your soul and natural and harmonious, and what's kind of coming from the mold, the template that's in the collective unconscious because of 6,000 years of hierarchical stories that now have established energy fields, that are a mold. It's the warrior is like this. He's always like this way, and he always does. He follows orders, and he kills, and that's brave. And all of these ideas, we tap into them when we put that cap on. Literally, it's like putting on a container onto your consciousness. I am a warrior. Yeah? And then you're tapping into the entire energy field of everybody who's been a warrior before. And, unfortunately, most people don't even know this. I noticed it when I started to take on leadership positions. And after it was done, it was like an event, doing stage managing a show, kind of producing it. I was in my young 30s. And I noticed all these like ways of dealing with it that came to me, like of being the leader in that situation. And also some sort of ways of like, that were a little bit hard, that then came through me. And I really, I offended some people. Some people were hurt by the way I was talking, because this was even in a yoga center in Belgium where they knew me as this really nice, sympathetic yogi. And then I was in this leadership position, and all of a sudden I had some hard edges. And then I noticed that it was important after an event like that to take that cap, that container, consciously off again. I'm no longer the leader right now. I'm just now Simon. And I don't have to have this energy field of being the leader and doing things a certain way so people will follow and that the event will go well. You understand? Yeah. So the archetypes are really feelable, and we take them on unconsciously. And the soul powers are really there, and we can activate them consciously. And most of us have 1 or 2 or 3 already activated. So now, coming back to the dilemma quiz, that we did, I want to point out to you that when you look at your quiz, it's this one, and I asked you to make circles where you have more. Yeah. So in the fire family or in the earth family, I gave you the question: are you going to go to the party? Are you going to fix the kitchen? Are you going to go to this martial arts master and learn a skill, a physical skill that you can then do? Or are you going to read this amazing book that seems to have the answers to the meaning of life? Yeah, remember? And then you were making these circles around 4 circles if you're definitely going, 3 circles if that's really important to you, 2 if it's not so important, and 1 if you don't really care about that topic. And I made the questions to force you to prioritize. It's like you have either or. It's Thursday night and it's at 7 o'clock, all of these things. So you have to choose one. Now, with what you have, in your answers where you have 4, that's your normal, already activated soul power, where you're already doing most of what you're doing. Now that can be harmonious or distorted. You might be in one of the soul powers and you're kind of in a distortion with it. Yeah? Okay, so for instance, you might be in the water family and you have all the talents that come with that, and you're doing your life with that as your priority. That means more often than not, you prioritize what the water family wants to do in life, the priorities of the water family, which is connecting with the moment, really wanting to feel the bliss, really wanting to feel the freedom, the connection with everything, or the connection with a lover, or the connection with your art. Yeah? Or your priority is with the earth power. You really want to make sure that there's enough food in the winter. You really want to make sure you have something in the savings account. If something happens, you don't want to risk ever that you might be there without resources to protect you and those loved ones around you. Maybe your family, maybe it's your company, maybe it's your country. Whatever it is, that's then your field that you've taken on the responsibility for. So what do you prioritize in each and every sort of decision you have to make every day? And that's what this quiz is for, to help you to think about. And I invite you to think about this with and observe yourself with these different questions further, because this is just one. These was just 4 questions, but there are many different questions that you're faced in life. And you can think about, like, where's my priority and decision actually coming from now that I'm deciding whether I'm going on a picnic or I'm fixing the kitchen? And of course, we want to go towards accessing all 4 areas in a harmonious way. All 4 powers. So we want to go towards being sufficient enough in the earth powers that we have a structured life, we have a roof over our heads, we have enough money in the bank to not worry, we have enough skills to do something really well so that we can go on the hunt or the work or the project or the vocation. We want to be good enough in the air power to, if we need to learn something, we know how to go for the knowledge, meditate on it, study it, so that it opens itself up to us like a flower. We want to be good enough in the water family that we remember when all of these are in place, that we also need to play and have fun in life and just be in the moment, and really be with your lover, really be with your instrument if you're playing, really be with your friends, really be in nature also. So when you have all of these, not only just there and slumbering, but all of these available to you and activated because you're using them. You activate each of these soul powers by using them. Like my deficit was my circle where I had the least circles, maybe just one, was the earth family 10 years ago. And that's what I'm suggesting to you. Look at your answers, also in everyday life, and see which one is the one that you don't go to naturally so much, so easily. So wherever in your answers you only have one circle, or the least circles, that's what you could decide to focus on for the next months or years. Because that's something where you maybe have a blind spot in life. And it can make your other areas of life happier if you also learn that one. If you also see that one as your teacher and go towards it and do the resonance work, which I talked about. So that means I will give you some sentences for each one, and they are really sentences that come from the soul of that soul power. They're really from the center, from the essence of that soul power. And you can say, like, maybe this is like an earth power quality. Then you maybe have, I give you 4 sentences for the earth power, 4 sentences for each of the powers, and then you can have it by your bed, and along with the stone exercise in the morning and the evening, you can read that sentence once. That's resonance work. You're getting into the resonance, you're dialing up that power within you. Yeah? And it's always, the simple approach is you want to get good at something, you want to get into the resonance of it, and then it actually helping you with things that you already know, you just haven't accessed them yet. You want to bring those out. You dial it up like a telephone number by doing the actions that are related to that power. Yeah? Doing the actions of, I am deciding, like you do, when there's something to do in the house, like I've got some IKEA boxes, I'm going to do them right away so that it's done, because it feels good that things are done. Things are getting done. Or you can say a simple one of my favorites, when I'm done eating, unless it's an exception, in general, if I have the plate in my hand, I'm not just going to put it into the sink. I'm going to actually just turn on the water, wash it briefly, and put it to dry. That's like a sort of standard way of mine to be in the earth quality. Get things done. Do them right away without an inner dialogue. Oh, I'll do it later. And then I walk by and I see the dish again. Oh, I'll do it later. How many times am I going to think that thought in the day? And now I've I've spent energy on thinking I'll do that later 5 times. An inner dialogue, maybe even a feeling about it. Oh, I always do this. Yeah? But rather be like, I'm going to make a firm decision. From now on, when I get to the sink after I'm eating, I have the bowl in my hand, turn the water on, get the sponge, bam. How long did that take? No inner dialogue. You walk past it, and actually every time you feel good because, hey, the sink's clear. The sink is clean. Well done. Build up your self-love, your self-esteem. Bring order into your life gently, without beating yourself up ever. You're just like, I'm just going to do it. And then wait for it to bring wind into your sails so that you're sailing. And your own inner powers are putting wind into your sails and you're flying.
This is creating power, and you're the creator.
Yeah.
And that's why it feels so good to have these things done.
Yeah.
Because you create. It's Schöpfer, no?
Yeah, Schöpfer.
Schöpfer,
Yeah.
You're the creator.
You're the creator of your reality. Yeah. There's no way around it.
It's very important to do.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's, in a nutshell, what I learned in the Tantra Yoga school after 15 years of being in the Siddha Shiva yoga structure with my guru, and I learned a lot there too. But this learning about the archetypes in the Tantra Yoga school, and now through shamanic work, learning about the soul powers, which is not in the astral distortion field. It's really in the purity of your own soul. That's, in a nutshell, what I want to give in this whole teaching, in this body of work. Because you can use it as a map, and it's so simple. It's really just 4 different areas. Once you think about it more and read about it more, and I'll give you more things to read, I'll write things also, and also just in these workshops, you have a way, a criteria, to just help yourself, to sort of regulate your life a little bit more, optimizing here and there, and then also remembering to play and relax. All of it. The whole thing. So I invite you to look at your test and see the one which has the least circles, and do the resonance work. And remember, we can also do private sessions, and talk about it and just go through a list in your specific things in your life that you want to do. And then I can be a sounding board, or, somebody you feel is encouraging you to go in that direction, holding a space for you. And then just keep looking at that and keep working with that and see how it changes, what it changes in your life. And then in each one, there's more that we can do. Like, for instance, in the shaman area, in the air power, there's meditations we can do to access your intuition more. There's initiations we can do in the shamanic way that help all the others. In the water power, I've got a whole workshop on sexual alchemy. So how can you bring the energy up? What are the asanas to help you in your sexual power, and also in your yang masculine energy that gets more and more and more consciousness, more power, more energy, all of these things. And same with the other two. There's always something that we can do. And by doing that in that field, it activates that soul power. And then you have more than the sum of all parts. You have more than what you learned. There's something there that is really big, that is just part of our souls. That's how we saw it in the shamanic journey 2 years ago. We saw a man and a woman, their soul. Actually, the soul was masculine and the soul is feminine, 2 different ones. And each one a wheel with those 4 human powers, each related to the 4 elements. So just any questions?